Ooh, hello, we're live. We've got a Chi Time live here today.
Yay, this is it.
We're doing it.
We're doing it.
Doing it. But I have Sika here with me. Oh, wow. He's just done this most incredible event in the treehouse last night, and we're a bit stoked from that, aren't
A
we?
bit stoked, yeah. It was very, very beautiful. Yeah, right up in the canopy of the oak trees and the beech trees. Amazing wooden treehouse structure that took 65 of us on an immense journey. Yeah, it was good. It was really good.
It was. In fact, it's difficult to find words, but welcome to Chi Time, Sika.
Thank you, Clara. It's good to be back.
Yeah, it is really good
really
to
good.
have you back, and you've got a new album out. Not that we're seriously plugging this, but we are. This is called Shapes in the Silence, and I'm loving that. Obviously, you've been working really
I have been
prodigiously on it.
working so hard on this album. It's been 4 months of a labour of love, and I've loved every moment of it. It's been a journey that's expanded my repertoire of instruments. It's expanded my ability to play them and my understanding of sound and my relationship to sound. It feels like it's probably the most expressive album that I've made that represents who I really am. It's very earthy, very real. All the instruments are entirely natural. They're made out of bone, wood, stone, shell. And I like to say that their sounds are like the voice of these instruments. You know, that they take me into another world, but it's just completely natural. There's nothing unnatural about it at all.
I can't be. And I'm going to concur with you there. I listened to this album for the first time last night after the sound journey.
Yeah.
Really coming into that sense of not only wanting to relive the sound journey, which you can't really do because you're in the now moment, so you're having a new one, but there was this recognition of the sounds that were resonating with my system as something that was very ancient. So the sounds of the air, the breath, the sounds of the whistles or the birds. But it's something that I recognised from long, long, long ago, and it came into my now moment. I really feel like I'd landed home. But it was so profound
nice.
indeed.
Like
it was real.
I really like that.
Recognition.
There is, the title of the album is Shapes in the Silence, and the silence and the space between the sounds is so important. There's a pace to it. And I think that is something that I've come to realise and value, that we all need more of. We all need more silence and more space. And it's quite well known that in music, the pauses between the notes is very, very important. And I've learned a lot from listening to classical music during the creation of this album, and realizing there's a lot of plays of dynamic. So there might be a real crescendo of energy that has built up over a few minutes, and then suddenly you get this like full orchestrated, powerful sort of crescendo of energy, and then as soon as abruptly that can just come to a sudden stop. There's nothing subtle about it. There's no fade out or anything. It's just like stop, space, nothingness, and then gradually there's one introduction of one little sound.
Yeah, but you say that, the space, nothingness, that space actually holds the resonance of that crescendo. And you want to be in a place to sort of satiate it, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, it's not nothingness at all, is it? No, absolutely not.
It might appear to be silent.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And so hence the name, Shapes in the Silence.
Yes.
Because that is entirely what these sound waves are doing. They are literally just creating a shape that is not only audible, but it's also, when you say it, you can feel it, and you can feel it still hanging there in the apparent emptiness.
And that's what we want to encourage more of us to do. And that's what we want to encourage more of us to do, is to come into our stillness and our calm and our spaciousness, because all this chat about the quantum field and going into the void of all possibilities, it's like, well,
excuse me.
right.
Yeah.
You have to find the space for that. Space is the key. And yet, it's not easy in this hugely distracted world that we live in. And don't get me wrong, that's lots of fun.
Yeah.
But it can burn you out really easy. And so when you come into a sound journey with you, for instance, you hold such a beautiful presence yourself that then you bring the expression through the sounds, then that encourages us to inhabit this spaciousness within.
Yeah. I think that process happens without any effort, actually. I think that we are drawn to it. I think that is just a natural need that we have. And, at times that can become a greater need, and we sort of seek it out. But in the sound journeys, there is a feeling of there's enough time, there's enough. I'm taking my time to think about this now, to feel it, because it's about allowing myself and allowing ourselves to just feel whatever is going on in a given moment. And if we clear away external clutter or external sound, or not even actually clear away external sound, but it's about an acceptance of what is going on right now and allowing ourselves to feel it. And one of the things that I've been finding is that within the sound journey, when it's a live situation, there are external sounds quite often. It might be something like a bird, which we would be happy about, but it might equally be the sound of a truck with air brakes, or an aeroplane going by, or
A
lawnmower, or a door banging, or whatever. There's a myriad of different possibilities, and the trick is to not see those as a distraction, but to actually accept that as a sound, and that's part of it.
And that you have got that stillness at the centre of you. And it's the only place we're going to experience quiet and stillness is in ourselves. It's not really external of us, is it?
Very much so. So it becomes like a form of meditation, a deep relaxation.
Because it's so nurturing. Because this is where we heal, isn't it? If we come into this sort of that still, quiet space, then the system isn't being drawn to doing, it's coming into the being. And there's all this chat about the now moment and being in the now. Now, how that being with a capital B, be in the now, not just notice it, but be in it. And that's what your sounds do. They allow us to land and be in the now and want to satiate them and want to really expand into that feeling that they offer, even if you might go on a right old journey with it.
I was going to say that, actually, because that has to incorporate the feeling of uncomfortableness as well. And if we can really allow ourselves to embrace all of it, then there's a sort of peace that comes from
that acceptance of the different aspects of self in the now moment with the peace. Yeah, I tell you.
So, some of what I've been exploring in the creation of this album and in the live sound journeys is allowing what feel like uncomfortable moments to have their space, and they create attention, and it's from allowing that its time and space, and then going into something that is harmonious, that feels comfortable and easy, that you really kind of get it when they're next to each other. And that's what life's like.
Yes,
you can't just always be having harmonious experiences.
Although there's always a harmony underlying it all, though, because there's always that exchange, that dance of yin and yang. I was just feeling there that as the sound reverberates through and clears out the old dross and gives sometimes some uncomfortable feelings, it immediately nourishes with this quality of pure, true sound energy. And you get it, don't you?
Yeah. So it's been a journey, and I'd say the really big difference with this album is the introduction of so many of the Maori instruments. The taonga kōrero, which is Maori, in Maori that means the singing treasures. And these instruments have changed my whole relationship to creating sound and doing sound journeys. There are layers and subtleties of these sounds that just move me so much. And like, for example, the kawawa, which is kind of like a flute, might be made out of bone or wood, maybe stone even. The notes on that are not notes as such; they are fluid. So the sound is very emotional. It's possible to really express something very subtle.
It's a feeling of how much you're breathing through it.
It's very centered around the breath, extremely so, and they're very subtle. Like the breath has become a very important part of what I'm doing.
I'll tell you what we'll do, because you're having a coughing fit and I'm recording this for Chi Time. So let's play a track from your new album, Shapes in the Silence by Sika. And I would like to choose the wood track.
Nice.
So you've got all these different titles from origin, stone, wood, bone, wind, shell, and cycles. Cycles is what we're going to finish with, but I felt that the wood one would be interesting. Not only are you wearing your tree t-shirt, if you're watching this on video, he's got a lovely circular mandala sort of tree t-shirt going on, which he also wore last night in the tree house.
Yeah.
So this track, which is attributed to the wood element, has got all these layers and elements going on in it. So if you're listening to this on Chi Time, enjoy this, and we'll come back with Sika on the other side to talk a little bit more about it.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
So that's the wood track from your Shapes of Silence new album from Sika, from your website, sikamusic.com. So if you want to head over there to find out more about that, you can. But just before we played that, we've begun to talk about the breath and how important that is in everything that you do. And I, as a recipient from your sound journeys, was just the power of hearing the breath. As I think you were drumming, and you were breathing, and there was something just again really recognizable and soothing, but also
isn't it just? It is soothing, isn't it?
Yeah, but there was something that if something wasn't in alignment with that, it was like the time to it can go. You know, like it gave space for a release to occur.
Yeah, I mean, bringing in the breath so deliberately has been quite a revelation, really, because many years ago, when I used to go into the recording studio, if there was a breath in the recording process, we would do everything we could to try and get rid of it.
What the sound would go breathing in.
You know, if they're working with a vocalist, you know, if they're going to go before they start recording, then the engineer would do everything that was possible to try and minimize that. Whereas what I've done in this recording and in the live sound journeys is I'm actually emphasizing that in-breath and out-breath. And I'm even giving it space so that is all there is. And like you say, when I'm playing the hoop drum and I'm coming around and you can feel the vibration of the drum, and in there I'm adding a very audible use of my breath, and I'm even using it as a rhythm, creating patterns. And I've found that when you have a rhythm that kind of goes, and it's going from side to side, it sets up a sort of entrancing state of being, and it hypnotizes you. It sends you off. And so I've been using that, and I've also been utilizing the skill of breathing that I use in the didgeridoo without the didgeridoo. So it's like and suddenly you end up with this amazing rhythm, and this sort of cross rhythm that's going on. Yeah.
I didn't realise that's what you do into the did.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
That and a whole myriad of different rhythms. So I've trained myself over the years to do breathing in patterns, and that's what's so profound about it. Like, so when we change our breathing pattern, it directly relates to our thoughts and our mind. And so then we set up a new breathing pattern, and almost immediately we seem to get into the habit of breathing like that. And it takes a conscious thought to actually change that breathing pattern. And if we can become like a master of breathing patterns, then we can actually move through emotionally and psychologically much more fluidly.
Wow, that is so interesting, you know, because the breath is central to our very existence. I mean, without
it seems to be, yeah. So you know, bringing that into this creation of these sounds, it's amazing. You know, so I'll pick up a flute and I'll go play the flute, and I'm emphasizing that in breath. And they're, like you said, you know, there's something very comforting, very reassuring and nurturing to be allowed to breathe and to hear somebody breathing. You know, it's quite like sort of returning to a childlike state, I think.
I think this is what your music, for want of a better word to describe it is music that you do, but you're not producing tracks for, they are for enjoyment, but you know, it's not, it's healing music, it's a deeper resonance with you, you're doing it with purpose, with consciousness. And from all the natural sounds that you use, what I gained from that was that I recognised them from many lifetimes. So there's a reassurance that comes from that. You know, our ancestors would have also heard the sound of the breath and the sound of the trees and the sound of the birds. And you know, this is a recognisable resonance within our whole DNA of something that is regular and real about being here present.
Without a doubt. Yeah, I really, really hear what you're saying. Yeah.
The other aspect that we were considering was this straddling of different dimensions. So this being in this present 3D reality with our physicality, and the breath to me is that bridge between the dimensions, but also the sounds, the trip you go on, the whole, they activate your third eye, your pineal gland is like really happy to be around those sort of sounds, and yet to be so present with them as well. This is this multi-dimensional straddling activity that I think your sound is going through.
Fascinating.
It's not really a question, is it?
No, but it's fascinating. Yeah.
An
It really is.
observation.
We were talking earlier about, I feel very strongly that I don't want to say what is going on with what I'm doing. It's not that I don't have my own ideas about it, but I really feel strongly that I want people to find their own truth from within. And if there was any one thing that I feel like I would like to achieve with my work, it's that. It's to enable people to connect with themselves and with spirit and their truth, and to live that. I've always felt that. I'm not interested in saying this instrument represents such and such and it does this to you. It's up to you to find that out. And it's different for each of us, and it's different each time anyway. So in life in general, I'm really advocating now giving ourselves permission to just be. And if that means just feeling into it, well, it does mean that, really, doesn't it? It's exactly what it means. It's exactly that. It's like, let's feel it and then live what is our truth. So these instruments are ancient. They take us to other places so easily. They have certain, they have a mood, they have a feel. It's very common that people connect with something very ancient.
Very real within a recognition, a reclaiming of one's soul, and really bringing the soul more into the presence of the now. And remembering that we're not human beings. We're with a soul. We're actually souls with a human body.
Nice.
And I think that the sound is one of the resonances that we recognise. That's lovely when you say there's space for people to have their own experiences. This is so key, isn't it? It's handing over the power to the person to have your own experience with what's going on.
Yeah, very much.
And to know that you can't get it wrong. It's your experience.
That as well.
So it's how it is for you, and that nourishes you. That brings you into a kinder relationship with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And you give yourself that level of nourishment and nurturing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So highly recommending this album, actually all your albums. I remember the one from last year. We were on a sound journey in Bournemouth, and I was literally heading off to France the next day, and Sika said to me, "Ooh, you might have to take it a bit easy." I thought, "Now I'll be fine, I'll play it on the plane, it'll be cool." It's not just music, it takes you on a whole another journey.
Yeah, I can't imagine what that was like sitting on an aeroplane doing it.
It was interesting.
It
was interesting.
No, it's definitely not just music. It is a powerful experience, for sure. And I feel confident that this album is the most powerful that I've ever made, actually. I feel very, very excited about releasing this one. It's been interesting, actually, the process of naming the album and also naming the individual tracks on it. There's 7 tracks. The album's about 65 minutes long, about 66 minutes long. And like Clara was saying, the titles of the tracks are Origin, Stone, Wood, Bone, Wind, Shell, and Cycles. And I really went through quite a process to name them and bring it back, to strip it back to just elemental one-word titles.
Clarity there.
And again, you know, that sense of not wanting to project a whole load onto this piece of creative sound, but just each person will get what they get from it.
So
I think it would be great actually if everybody kind of got a journal and kept notes with it. You mentioned you were going to do it.
21 days I'm going to do this for.
Yeah.
And see what comes through. Anyone else fancy joining me for a 21-day sound journey with Shapes in the Silence with Sika?
Yeah, it's a really good idea.
See what happens.
And keep a journal and just watch and see, observe your behaviours and your responses.
Thank you. You're on a UK tour at the moment, aren't you?
Yay, I am, yeah. Yesterday's Treehouse Sound Journey was the second event. The first one was Stonehenge. And today I'm going to be playing at Gaunt's House at Drama Festival. And then going to the Healing Weekend in Somerset for Saturday and Sunday. So I might see some of you there. And then there's a whole massive schedule of events, including the really exciting one that's happening in the Earth House that Clara's organised. An old Viking under the hillside with a fire in it and 27 tree trunks that are holding the roof up. I mean, very, very ancient, quite shamanic looking structure. Is going to be ideal for the sound journey.
You're going to be in the belly of the earth, gestating the sounds and the fire in the belly of the earth.
Yeah, can you imagine these instruments in there? My God.
This is the 22nd of August, and you can go to consciouslivingevents.co.uk if you want to find out more about that. Or if you want to find out more about your whole tour, that's sikamusic.com.
Sikamusic.com.
Actually, I think anywhere you go special, to be honest. Your presence is quite something else. It's a real calm beauty to your soul. Happy birthday.
Yeah, we share the same birthday. It's Clara and I.
Not the same year, and I'm not telling you who's the oldest. You can guess.
I don't think so, actually, at all.
So, look, have a great rest of your day. Lovely Facebook crew, and maybe you'll catch up with Sika at the festival later.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening on Chi Time. And
Thank you.
Any last thoughts for people listening?
Put me out there.
Do that.
Okay. Yeah, I would say that take time just to listen with your ears. I mean, we're obviously needing to take time to listen on all levels, but I mean, listening to sound around us, not specifically any sound at all, just all sound. Just really take it in.
I remember you telling me that we receive sound through all our cells into our bones, not just with our ears. So as you were saying that, I was thinking it's not just my ears that are listening, my whole body is picking up the vibrations in the air and from the earth and from the movement around.
How subtle can we take it? Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do that. Be subtle, peeps, and keep your chi up, my friends. Talk to you soon. Thank you so much for listening.
Much love to you all.
Thank you for being part of Time again.
Thank you.
Hugs.
Hugs.
Yay. I'm doing this for all of you, obviously. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.
Bye.